All right, number two. Number two is just like number one. Suppose f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 1, then the limit as x approaches 0 of f of x minus f of 0 over x squared is equal to. So let's go ahead and solve. So we have the limit as x is going to 0 of f of x. Let's go ahead and plug in that actual function. Minus f of 0, if I plug in 0 into the function, I'm going to get 1 divided by x squared. Well, if you notice, these guys are going to cancel again. And that's going to be the limit as x is going to 0 of 2x squared divided by x squared. Again, you'll notice that my x's are going to cancel. And I am just left with 2. Alright, number three, if f of x is equal to x to the third minus 2, which is equal to f prime of 4, and so you know we're talking about where x is equal to 4. That's what we want. Whoops, that's not I want the highlighter. X is equal to 4. Well, if you notice, on number one, did I plug in? So if I should have x plus h minus, that'll be my g of x, and then it looks like, again, and then my f of x at the end. And am I plugging in 4 in for x, which I'm supposed to do? In number one, it looks like that's what's occurring. In number two, it looks like I'm plugging in 4 in for h. Well, that's not what I want to plug in for. I want to plug in 4 in for x. So if you remember at the top, this is what says x plus h. Well, it looks like this. Here I have, I don't know, h plus 4 or h plus x. But I want to plug in 4 is supposed to go into the x value, not into the h. The h is not going to change it in distance. You know, we're not setting a value for the distance. So the answer to number 3 is the first one. Number 4, evaluate the limit as h is going to 0 of 6 times x plus h squared minus 2 times x plus h plus 7 minus 6x squared minus 2x plus 7 all divided by h. And they ask, what does it represent? I just want to remind you, when we're looking for our f of x is located right here. If I call it my f of g of x, but that's located right here. And so the first part is the f of x plus h, or if you want to think about if g of x is x plus h, and then it's f of g of x. My f of x is always located at the end. And so when we're talking about what does it represent, when we're talking about the definite derivative, we're talking about f prime of x. That's what we're trying to find. What is the formula at any given point? I can plug in any point. What will be the formula to help me find that specific slope? All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in. So I have the limit as h is going to 0 of 6 oops, that's not what I want to do. Of 6, I don't know why my pen's not working, 6 times 6 times, we'll go ahead and use the quick formula, so this will be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus 2 times x minus 2h plus 7 minus 6x squared plus 2x minus 7, and that whole thing is being divided by h. So we can actually quickly, before I even distribute the 6, let's go ahead and quickly cancel. If you notice, I have a negative 2x here and a positive 2x here. That can be canceled. I have a positive 7 here and a negative 7 here. That can be canceled. And so now let's go ahead and write a little bit of that simplified form. So I have the limit as h is going to 0. And so I'll have 6x squared plus 12xh plus 6h squared minus 2h minus 6x squared. And looks like that's it. And we're going to divide that whole thing by h. And once again, I hope you notice I have a positive 6x squared here, a negative 6x squared here. And if you notice, everything that's left, I have an h attached to it. I have 12x times h, 6h squared, and a 2h. Everything has an h attached to it. That's what I want. At this point, I need everything that has an h. So now let's simplify further. The limit as h is going to 0. And I'm just going to factor out an h. So I have h times 12x plus 6h minus 2 divided by h. At this point, we can cancel again. And finally, let's go ahead and plug in 0 in for h. So I have 12x. And then 6 times, in this case, 0 is just going to be 0. And then finally minus 2. So the question is, what does this mean right here, that 12x minus 2? Well, that is the formula for the specific quadratic, the 6x squared minus 2x plus 7. This is the formula for that specific quadratic to help me to find the slope of the tangent line at any point on that quadratic. That's what that 12x minus 2. Now, if you want to find the actual m, that specific at a specific point, you're going to have to give me an x value. And so they asked me, what does it represent? Well, this is f prime of x. That's the derivative of my function is going to be 12x minus 2.